Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for listening. My name is Nelson Brown, and I'm the host of the Beauty in Us Radio right here on Awesome God Radio. I am so excited for tonight's show. I'm so excited to discuss tonight's topic for the show tonight. It's going to be a really, really deep discussion tonight. So excited. And it's going to be really, really, it's going to really hit home for a lot of people, because tonight's topic is going to be about the homelessness population, not just throughout our community, but throughout this nation. And it's also going to we're also going to be discussing the child welfare system here in the United States from a local perspective, a statewide perspective, and a national point of view. Tonight, we have Dr. Fred Newsome, the CEO of the Newsome Gospel Music Awards, and he worked for the Department of Social Services. So he's going to be sharing his expertise and his knowledge in the field of social services tonight, so that we can all think about we can all just use the resources that he has, at his disposal and in his arsenal, so that we can all learn how to move forward in this difficult time, in the midst of this pandemic, and in the midst of the political turmoil. And with everything that we've been hit with this year, 2020 is going to be a year that we're not going to forget. But before I begin, I am going to share a few announcements. And just in case you guys did not see my post yesterday, it was my mom's birthday. I'm not going to tell you how old she is. It's in the post, so feel free to look at the post. But it was my mommy's birthday yesterday. And I just want you guys to just wish her a happy birthday if you haven't. Just in case you guys don't know, I talk about my mom a lot. She's one of my biggest supporters. She's a big part of my life. She's the reason why I'm on this platform. She's the reason why I've accomplished so many things that I've accomplished. And she's the reason why I'm able to share with you guys and share and just lay my heart out on the table for you guys. But I just want you guys to wish her a happy birthday if you haven't. Her birthday was yesterday, October 19th. So I just wanted to just put that in there, just in case you guys didn't know. But in other words, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm still in the process of job hunting. And just in case you didn't know, my job position was terminated about a month ago, almost a month ago. My job position was terminated, and I'm currently in the process of job hunting. And I'm currently in the process of just taking one day at a time and one step at a time. I'm still trying to figure out how to, navigate through the job hunting process again. I haven't done this in a long time, since high school. But for now, as I continue to do that, I'm going to focus on my studies as a sociology student at UMBC. And I'm also going to just focus on providing you guys with the best content for my radio show and my upcoming books that I plan on publishing. So I'm still trying to figure things out, and I'm still trying to move things around. So that is on the, those were some of my announcements for tonight. But I'm going to jump right into tonight's topic. Like I said, tonight's topic is going to be about the homelessness population and the child welfare system. And I was doing some research from the Children's Defense Fund. Now, the childrensdefense.org has an article that was written this year, along with a few others, but I'm going to share a little bit about the Children's Defense Fund, the Leave No Child Behind initiative, that I did some research about. It's a government organization, and it talks about the problems that we have in terms of figuring out how to end poverty, especially when it comes to children, child poverty. And it says, under the problem category, it says, it is a national moral disgrace that children remain the poorest age group in the United States of America, one of the richest countries in the world. It is also unnecessary, costly, and the greatest threat to the nation's future national, economic, and military security. About 1 in 6 children, 11.9 million in total, were poor in 2018. More than 5 million of them, 5 million of these children lived in extreme poverty at less than half the poverty level. Nearly 3, hi Brandon, nearly 3 in 4 poor children were children of color. The youngest children were most likely to be poor, with nearly 1 in 5 children under 5 living in poverty during the years of rapid brain development. Child poverty hurts children and our nation's future. It creates gaps in cognitive skills for very young children, puts children at greater risk of hunger and homelessness, jeopardizes their health and ability to learn, and fuels the intergenerational cycle of poverty. And some more stats it says a baby is born into poverty every 51 seconds in America. 73, again, that's 73% of poor children are children of color. And 5 million US children live in extreme poverty on less than $9 a day per person. I'm going to say that again. 5 million US children live in extreme poverty on less than $9 a day in person. And the Children's Defense.org has an initiative, and it says that under our vision, it says that we envision an America where no child lives in poverty and all children have the opportunities they need to reach their full potential. Protecting children against the lifelong consequences of poverty will improve their life and reduce child poverty in future generations. As a country, we have the resources to end child poverty now and must create the will to do so. We cannot afford to wait. The future of our children and our nation depends on it. Now, I'm going to unpack that a little bit, and that definitely ties into the discussion that I have for tonight. So in tonight's discussion, as I said before, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Fred Newsome from the Department of Social Services and as the CEO of the Newsome Gospel Music Awards. And he's going to definitely be educating us. He's going to be using his expertise and his knowledge in this field to give us a better idea of what it means when children are left in poverty. But I first want to just ask you guys, what do you think the definition of poverty is? Not just from a financial point of view, but also from a spiritual point of view and from an emotional standpoint, and even in some cases as a mental standpoint. Because the Children's Defense.org initiative says that under their solution, it says that we work to end child poverty and ensure all families have resources to nurture their children by promoting improvements to policies and programs we know work. Ending child poverty will take a multi-pronged approach. To end child poverty now, we must ensure children's basic needs are met. So it says that we must increase investments in housing assistance for poor families so that they can afford a safe and stable home to raise their children. We also must increase the value of supplemental nutrition assistance programs or program benefits to cover a larger portion of the nutrition needs of children so they are healthy and ready to learn. Increase employment and make pay work. It says that we must increase wages for working families, improve tax credits to ensure more low-income families benefit, expand subsidized jobs with special attention to the needs of young adults disconnected from school and work, and provide access to quality, reliable childcare. And the last bullet here says, to level the playing field for poor children. It says to reduce child poverty long-term, children also need access to affordable, comprehensive, and physical, as well as behavioral health care, affordable, high-quality early development and learning opportunities, high-performing schools and colleges, and families in neighborhoods free from violence. Now, let's unpack that a little bit more. When we think about the word poverty, that can have many, many different meanings to many different people. I always look at poverty from not just a financial point of view, but also a spiritual, mental, and emotional standpoint. I feel like poverty can be a state of mind. It's all about what you value, how you carry yourself, your dreams, your aspirations. I think that when you're stuck in poverty, it's not always about money. It's about the state of mind, because you can have a lot of money, you can be in a good place financially, but you can still feel broken spiritually, and that can leave you impoverished. Just think about it. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and we are also in the middle of political turmoil. And think about everything that we've been through this year. I mean, we've just been we've been hit with a lot this year. We have not just the COVID-19 pandemic that has put many people, millions of people, out of work. We also have the racial injustice. We have the poverty levels that are going to reach their peaks this year. Just think about, our children. Think about the families that have been struggling for the past 6 or 7 months, figuring out how to put food in their refrigerators, how to feed, their children, how to pay bills, and how to pay their rent or mortgage. I mean, there are so many obstacles that so many families, middle class families, working class families, have to face. Everybody's been hit so harshly with the pandemic and with everything that's happened this year. So I just think about how that has left an impact mentally, how that has left an impact on our young people, on our children, making all of these adjustments to remote learning, trying to adjust to the fact that they may not even be able to see their friends. Some students, some of our children, they may not even be able to see each other for the next year or year and a half. Just think about all the social distancing that's taking place. Think about people who are depressed and lonely because of all of the isolation, all of the provisions that have been put in place. And just think about it. We were on lockdown. Well, I don't know about the other states, but here in Maryland, we were on lockdown for about 3 months. Just think about the levels of abuse that occurred, not just child abuse, but domestic abuse in general. Think about how many people have suffered behind closed doors. And my mom and I had a discussion a while ago about about the fact that everybody's not happy about being home. So just think about it. Think about the children. Think about our children and the child welfare system that, are home right now. And think about all of the children that are trying to make all of the adjustments they need to make so that they can pass their classes. Because, my biggest fear is that our children are going to fall behind because all of them may not have access to internet, a reliable source of transportation, and all of the tools that they need to be successful, especially our really, really young children, like the elementary school children that may not even know what this coronavirus pandemic is, trying to follow all of these rules, trying to keep up with everything. I mean, it will take its toll on you, and that can be difficult for anybody to manage. Now, I have a couple of Bible verses about community that I would like to share with you guys, because I think that that's what is needed the most. I think that we all just need to come together, and this is a village. This is our village. So all of the children, all of the elders, all of the parents, all of the guardians, all of the teachers, all of the counselors, all of the psychologists, social workers, everybody, we all have to come together, and we all have to figure out how to move forward together. We all need to help each other. We all need to stand hand in hand so that we can all continue to persevere. And I took some notes about, tonight's topic. And I said that the idea of community comes from the sense of responsibility we have for each other. In the Bible, God encourages us to take care of our brethren while following the word of the Lord, and that we must remember the importance of maintaining the connection with our fellow man to ensure a thriving community. And there are a list of Bible verses that I have that tie into tonight's topic. So it says, from 1 Corinthians 1, verse 10, it says, "I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say, and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly united in mind and thought." For 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 14, it says, "And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, be patient with everyone." Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. Excuse me, guys. This is my Instagram people chiming in. Colossians chapter 3, verse 13 says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Chapter 6, well, the sixth chapter in the second verse of Galatians, it says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. James chapter 5, verse 16, it says, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of the righteous person is powerful and effective. And Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17, and this is one I like about friendship. It says that a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. So these are a couple of Bible verses. I'm not going to read all of them, but these are a couple Bible verses that tie into that community effort when it comes to just, watching over each other and just helping each other along the way. At this point, I think that this pandemic has shown a lot. It's exposed a lot. And this is definitely displaying everybody's character in some form or another, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the school, whether it's at home. I mean, this pandemic is exposing circumstances and people for who they are. Now, the Children's Defense Fund is just one, just one source that I use, but another source from this blog, from the childrensdefense.org, says that COVID is hurting our children, and so is Congress. New research from the Center on Poverty and Social Policy at Columbia shows an additional 8 million Americans, including 2.5 million children, have fallen into poverty since May as a result of our leaders' failure to extend and expand the income support families need to keep their children fed, clothed, and housed. Looking at changes in monthly poverty rates, Columbia found that monthly poverty has risen beyond pre-COVID levels since Congress allowed COVID relief to expire and failed to provide additional assistance. Now, this is not about politics. So I just want you guys to just think about it. Think about our children for a second. Whatever side you affiliate with, whatever your political party is, it doesn't really matter to me right now. Just because it's about our children's well-being, their health, their safety, and their well-being. I'm talking to the parents now. Have you guys just sat down and had a discussion about, the COVID-19 pandemic? Have your children asked you guys about, okay, when are we going to get back to normal? Are we ever going to really be safe? When will we stop wearing our masks? Are we going to be homeless anytime soon? Do we have enough money to pay our bills? I mean, these are things that kids should not have to worry about. But at the same time, I know that it's really difficult for families because there are so many people who have gotten laid off. There are so many people that are under that moratorium, but it's the fall. And I know that some people haven't been able to pay their bills since March. And we're like in the end of October almost. And in a minute, it'll be a year in March in 2021. And there's no vaccine yet. There is no cure yet. And there's a lot of ongoing uncertainty, like I'm sure you've heard before. So have you sat down and had a discussion with your kids about, how to move forward? Because I know that there are so many people, so many kids that may be depressed right now. There are so many kids that, are just suffering from that fatigue that they usually talk about in terms of just being tired of the pandemic and tired of all of the restrictions. Because I know that little kids, they like to, go outside and play. They like to do what they want to do with their friends. They like to hang out with their friends. They like to go outside and play. They like to do all this stuff, but they can't because of all of the provisions that are in place. So have you had a conversation with your children about, staying faithful and praying, and then just standing hand in hand as we continue to persevere through this? Because I know for myself, it was really, really difficult for me to adapt for those 3 months, without having to go anywhere. Just all of the shutdowns and all of the restrictions that were put in place. Um, and I was just blessed because, I was still able to do what I needed to do financially. And we don't really, and thank you, Miss Selena Allen chimed in. It says, we really don't think about children in depression. And that is definitely true. But, I mean, a lot of people say that the adults are stressed out, but the kids are stressed out as well. I know that a lot of kids, teenagers um, are given a lot of responsibilities that they probably shouldn't even be in the position to take on, and they shouldn't have to worry about. But I know that a lot of people's circumstances are different. But I'm going to read a little bit more about important welfare statistics for 2020. This is from the lexingtonlaw.com. This is another article that I read. It's from earlier this year. It was written by Lexington Law on January 3rd, 2020. And it says that millions of Americans face the financial hardships of losing a job, not being able to work due to a disability, or supporting a family on a small salary each year. The struggle to put food on the table, pay bills, and support a family can be incredibly harsh, which is why the United States has a series of welfare programs to help those in need. So I'm not going to get into that too much because I know that Dr. Newsome is going to come on in about 10 to 15 minutes to talk about that, but I'm going to read a little bit of the stats right here. Not about the program specifically, but about the stats. It says the total cost of poverty assistance programs in America can add up to a shocking $1 trillion a year when combining both federal and state level program budgets. Because of the large total price tag on helping the poor, welfare programs are often an area of policy and budgetary debate. In 2018, a total of $445 billion is projected to be spent, was projected to be spent on welfare programs in America. 5.6% of the total government spending in 2018 in America went towards welfare programs. Local governments spent an estimated $284 billion on poverty reduction programs every year. From 1965 to 2011, the total percentage of GDP spent on welfare programs has quadrupled from 0.83% to 4.4% of the total. On average, the monthly payment benefit for American welfare recipients is $404. The average SNAP recipient in 2018 received $127 a month in assistance, which is about $1.39 per meal. Excuse me about that. So again, I want you guys to think about it again. Think about all of the people that may not be in the position to pay their bills on time. Think about all of the children that may not have access to all of the resources like internet so that they can complete the work, so that they can move forward in their studies for the academic year. Just think about all of the things that people are going through, because just because you're laid off from your job, or just because you may not have a source of income anymore, doesn't mean that the bills stop coming. Let's just be real about that. You are still responsible. You still have responsibilities. You still have to answer for things. You still have to answer for, that car payment, that cable bill, that phone bill, that mortgage, that rent money. You still have to answer for all of this stuff. And, and for parents, I know that, and children, children, are expensive. They need clothes, they need food, they need shelter, they need to stay up to date on their doctor's appointments. They need to be taken care of. So just everybody has suffered in some form or another. Just because people smile on the outside, and just because people act like everything's good, doesn't mean that they are not good. I mean, it's just a really, really, I know that a lot of people are really, really going through it right now. I just don't know, because, I mean, it's a lot. Think of how many people who are going to be evicted. Think of how many people in this world that are going to be put out of their homes, their apartments, their condos. And it's getting cold outside. It's the fall now. And they've already started sending late notices and eviction notices and shut off notices, because, like I said, just because, you're out of work doesn't mean that the bills don't stop coming. You still have responsibilities So how can we help people with those responsibilities that don't have the resources they need in order to take care of those responsibilities? Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17 says, and as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Matthew chapter 18, verse 20 says, for where two or three are gathered in my name, there I am with them. Romans chapter 12, verse 5 says, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. Romans chapter 1, verses 11 and 12 says, I long to see you so that I may, so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. Now, again, think about it, and also if you haven't really suffered as much loss, or if you're still in the position to pay your bills, if you're in this position to take care of all of your responsibilities, I think that this would be a good time to just thank God, to thank our Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior, for keeping us, for wrapping us in his loving arms. Because, if you're in the position to take care of your responsibilities, and if you're in the position to pay your bills on time, to take care of your families, in the midst of trying to grind and hustle in order to, take care of your responsibilities, to make money and to do what you need to do, I think that, we ought to thank our Lord Jesus Christ for that. Because, and no matter what, his shield of protection is around us. And we often forget that when we're going through things. We think of gloom and doom, but I think that that's really, really important for us to acknowledge. Because, we have to think about it. Just let's be real. There is always someone that may not be in a best position, but there are people that are not that are not in the same position as you are, or there are some people that are, maybe that there's always a circumstance that can be worse. So the circumstance may not look the best, but it's not always the worst. But like I said, just being thankful, and just being appreciative of what God has done for us. And even through the storm, even through our financial storms, there is still a lesson to be learned. There is still some values and morals that come out of this. This is a test of faith, and this is a test of our integrity. This is a test of our character. So I just want all of us to be mindful of that. I appreciate everyone who's tuned in. Miss Ciola Long, Miss Selena Allen, Mr. Gregory Dunlap. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'm sure there are many people on IG listening. So I definitely thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for tuning into tonight's show. We're talking about, just in case I know some people are tuning in right now. Hi, Miss Breezy. Hi, Dominic. I think that it's important to acknowledge that. Now, just in case I know a lot of people are joining in right now. We are talking about the homelessness population and the child welfare system, and how we can revamp and rebuild and restructure that. So I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to have Dr. Fred Newsome on here to discuss the child welfare system and the homelessness population. He has a lot of knowledge and experience working for the Department of Social Services, so he is able to provide us with a lot of resources and a lot of tools that we need so that we can know how to move forward, and so that we can just know how to just hold on, and how to just keep on keeping on, because it can be tough. So just stay tuned, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, so welcome back to the Beauty and Us Radio. I'm your host, Nelson Brown. I want to introduce you guys to our guest for this evening, Dr. Fred Newsome. Dr. Newsome, how are you doing?
Good, doing very good, Nelson.
Thank you again for agreeing to be a part of this show this evening. I wanted to bring you on because I shared with the listeners about the stats that I pulled up from, a couple of organizations about the child welfare system and also about the homelessness population. And I was sharing with the listeners that, you have a lot of experience working with the Department of Social Services. So could you elaborate about your experience working in the child welfare system or in the homelessness population and just your career at the Department of Social Services?
Well, thank you for having me on tonight. Working with social services, I've been working with the agency for nearly 12 years. Right now, I'm self-employed. I do the Newsome Awards full time, Newsome Gospel Music Awards full time. But my experience with social services in the years I've been there, I've helped with the food stamp program, the cash assistance program, the medical assistance program. And one common theme I've seen in all these programs is that there has been a great need for families, for family with children, for single individuals. And I saw a lot of those needs met, and then I saw a lot of those needs not met. So during my tenure there, I thought it was very helpful. I was a supervisor at social service for a period of time, tried to help as many people as I possibly could. Even as a case manager, as a worker, definitely tried to help as many customers and clients as I possibly could to make sure everybody got what they needed to survive, between food stamps, cash assistance. We had a program called for or emergency grants if you need help with your gas and electric, your BGE, or your water bill. We had a program for that. I tried to help as many people as I possibly could during my stay there because I've seen so many cases go to the side or so many customers get put to the side. And I said, during the time I'm there, that will not happen. So, and I spent nearly 12 good years doing that. So when God transitioned me from there to my own, doing the Newsome Awards full time, I have definitely felt very honored. Since then, I've been working with try to help out as many homeless individuals as I can. Been to various encampments where actually homeless people live in the woods, which I did not really know that until actually some of my friends, some of the Newsome Queens and my friends took me to the woods, and we had an opportunity to minister to a lot of homeless people in the woods. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And I've just seen so much and tried to get in and help out everywhere I possibly could to try to make individuals' lives better. And that was one of my biggest objectives, is trying to make everybody's life better. And God put me in a perfect position with home, with working with social services, and I had a chance to help thousands and thousands of families, and just to keep it moving, and so they could understand, well, your life won't be like this always. This is only temporary. And this is what I try to get a lot of them to understand. This is not the rest of your life because you're in this position now. This is just a temporary step till you can get to where you want to be, where education or job wise or whatever have you.
Okay, yes, and I definitely, I just want to acknowledge the great work. I know that it's not an easy job to do.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of a passion to be cut out for this line of work because I know a lot of people, they just do it for the paycheck, and this is just my 9 to 5. But like I said, you have to really have a passion for doing this because this is not easy work.
Right,
Um,
right.
so I know that you. you you were one of the outsiders as a mayoral candidate last year. I
Yeah.
attended your event last year. So, what have you been doing since then? So, what transitions have you made since then
Well,
from the
Well, that you know what, that's a good point because even running for mayor of Baltimore, the election is in November 3rd, but even running for mayor of Baltimore, I actually gleaned a lot of good ideas from that program from running for mayor of Baltimore, and that gave me the great opportunity to help all these homeless people that I'm helping today, and helping business people start their businesses, give them business advice. I've made so many connections running for mayor of Baltimore that it really opened up a great door and a great opportunity. I told the other my colleagues, the other candidates that were running, it was like 28 of us, I think, running. That was a huge list of people. But I told my colleagues, I said, listen, I'm going to stay true to my promises that I made even on the campaign trail because not only does it benefit all the people that I'm able to work with, but it benefited me as well. So I've been working with Nelson, I've been working with so many people, and God has opened so many doors, business owners, homeless people, citizens I knew on the street. When I was on the campaign trail, I came across so many people that knew me from serving them in social services. And I'm out in the public, and everybody's like, "Oh, this the food stamp man. This the food stamp guy." So I'm not really a food stamp guy, but it just did me good to see how many people knew me just from when I serviced them in the different agencies. I've been in about 3 or 4 different social services buildings on different assignments, and I've had the pleasure to meet not only a lot of excellent coworkers, but a lot of excellent customers and clients. So I've had the opportunity to meet a ton of nice people, and that helped me through this campaign trail running for mayor of Baltimore. And I looked at the agenda, and be honest with you, the candidates I ran against, I'm looking at how the solutions to the problem seemed so easy to me, but it was so complex to the candidates. And my mind just couldn't comprehend, like, why does it seem so hard to you guys? And this is just easy as fixing it. But the thing of it is, you got to be in a position to fix it. Now you can do here and there, like I'm doing, going different places, helping different homeless people on the streets and different youth. But it's like being in a higher position gives you a lot more autonomy, a lot more authority to like do different things. Where wow, you can do it on a grander scale. But to have people in there who don't know what they're doing, man, that's the fallacy of life. That's why Baltimore fails. That's why Washington, Chicago, it doesn't matter what city you pick. If you don't have people, leaders in position who actually know what they're doing, not just taking up residence in a position, you have to actually know what you're doing in that position. And I've seen it a lot of times, even with state government that I work for, political arena, there's just so many people in position who have no clue what they're doing. And the demise is the people on the outside who have to suffer because of what these individuals don't know what they're doing. So I tried to narrow that gap, so everybody can get the services that they need. But like you said, it's a struggle. But I mean, you just got to get people there who actually know what they're doing. Just because you win an election or you win in a position doesn't mean you got smarter. If you didn't know nothing going in, when you were out of it, you're not going to know nothing going in unless you gain knowledge. Knowledge is power, and knowledge actually helps other individuals. So it's kind of like a twofold street going on there.
Yeah, I absolutely understand what you're saying. I had Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark last week
Mm,
on this program, and she provided us with a lot of insight that you don't even hear about at all, in
mm,
terms of a lot of young people that she's worked with, because she talked about her career as an educator before she became a part of the council, and also right now we're also in a voting season, so what do you think needs to happen to bring the residents that may be a part of these impoverished communities? So what do you think needs to happen to turn that around right now? Because we're in voting season. So what would you say to encourage people who are, voting this time versus 2016, 2012, or however many years back? Because it's been an ongoing issue.
right. I would say you have to vote for individuals who have your best interest at heart. Not vote for because of name recognition or people been knowing them or oh that sounds good. No, you can't vote for those purposes. You have to vote for who has your best interest at heart? Who's going to build up your community? They've been talking about building up communities in Baltimore. I've been here 22, 23 years, and that's all I've been hearing since I've been here is build up community, build up community, build up community. But then you look at the census. Okay, a part of the outline of the census is to see how many people are in the community and then how much money goes to that community. Well, unfortunately, you can see if you look at some of the communities around Baltimore, you can see a dollar haven't touched them in the last 40 years. So I mean, there's no compromise there. The illusion that they're getting the money sounds good, and they put on different programs. Well, we want to have this gambling casino, we want to have this, but if you put the gambling casino here, we can donate more money to the children. The children never see none of that money. If they did, the community would be developed. Baltimore City wouldn't have schools with no heat. They wouldn't have schools with no air conditioning if the children saw the money. But the children seem to be good pawns to move, because if they put children in the mix and all this money's going for the children, and if they vote on it, you don't be one of the ones that voted against the children. So it's kind of like a catch 22. They put you in the mix and then they'll throw children in there as political pawns to move, and like, oh, we're doing this for the children. If you vote against this, you're voting against the children, which they already know. Children are not going to see none of that money. Our schools are not going to see none of that money. Our neighborhoods are not going to see none of that money. Our badly run neighborhoods are not going to see none of that money. I took a walk yesterday in one of the areas in Baltimore, and I didn't realize how much a certain area they were building up so much they had to put hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into this area to build up. And I hadn't walked that area in several years, and when I went walked it last night, I couldn't believe all the development I saw. And this wasn't an inner city per se area or neighborhood. And I was like, wow, they really built up this area, and you can see they put hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into it. And I said, man, if they just took 10 million, 20 million of those dollars and put it in some of these underdeveloped communities, how much would that change the area? See, those are the things we need to look at. But unfortunately, under the current state, that's not going to happen. I mean, it'll be status quo, it'll be same as usual, and that's really a downside to politics. Is that we put our friends and our buddies in office, and our friends and buddies have no interest of the people that really need the money or the people that are in poverty. And like I said, that's a fallacy of Baltimore, and that's something we'll fail at every single time. We'll always gain an F on that.
Yes, it's sad, but I understand what you're saying completely about everything that you shared. I actually, because I'm a sociology student at UMBC, so I study right now. I'm studying a marriage and family course. That's my favorite course so far,
Hmm.
and I learned a lot about a lot of what you shared and the work that you did. So I learned a lot about that in my studies, and also also in addition to the marriage and family course, I'm taking the sociology of education course, and how education and the family work hand in hand,
Mm-hmm.
in order to build a community. So, and I understand that a lot of children suffer, in the process when the resources aren't being allocated appropriately. Because I've ridden around Baltimore City, and I am able to distinguish between the neighborhoods that receive the adequate amount of resources and the monetary funds to do what they do, and it's evident when you see neighborhoods that don't. You can just ride through a neighborhood and just look at the neighborhood.
Easily tell.
Yes, because I've been in some neighborhoods that okay, there are a couple of blocks where okay, you know I can tell that this is a well-established neighborhood. People have been around here for 30, 40 years. I can tell they maintain their property. There's no trash in the ground.
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
There are no and I'm not trying to sound like a Baltimore hater, but there are no rats running.
Right, right,
I'm able to tell when I drive through a neighborhood whether or not people take pride in their neighborhoods. And it's not just about trash. It's just about being proud of where you live. And I know that because I look at some neighborhoods and I'm able to tell, and then a couple blocks down, that's when I see where okay, the resources aren't being allocated appropriately here versus there, and
right.
they're only a few
Exactly.
blocks from each other. They're only a few blocks from each other. So where, why does that happen? And that's why I am studying what I'm studying. So and I also study I took a racial and ethnic minorities course in addition, well, in the spring, about how there's certain Black and brown neighborhoods that are being affected the most, or who are
Mm-hmm.
being marginalized the most, versus people who are not of color in those neighborhoods. So have you, well, during your time at the Department of Social Services, did you work with any of the people in public office at all?
I did not. Well, actually, this is my fourth election. So a lot of the individuals in the political arena are good friends of mine. So I ran in District 44B, District 10. I was working with Kevin Cabinets before he passed away. So this is my fourth election running for mayor of Baltimore. So experience wise, I have the most experience of all the candidates. But when you look at the accomplishment of work, I've actually had the opportunity and ability to actually be in the field with so many of these individuals and to help so many of them. So that has been a major, focal point for me is I actually could get out and help people, help the citizens, help individuals. So, and this has been one of my prime goals. I used to be a substitute teacher for a while, so I've always been hands-on with students, with individuals. I teach. I'm the superintendent of Sunday school at my church, so I've been constantly in the teaching realm, and I think overall, just being able to help so many individuals out there is what makes the world a difference. But you actually got to get out there and help people. I mean, you could if standing in a position and using it to be as efficient and effective as possible is one thing, but I try to meet everybody where they're at. And even a lot of the individuals I serve at social services, I help encourage them to go to college, get your GED, and they would come back to me and say, Mr. Newsome or Dr. Newsome, I took your advice and I registered for college. And, one young lady was like, I want you to come to my graduation because if it wasn't for you, I would have never went to school. I would have never done this. And she said, well, why don't social services help people that want to go to school, that want to get their GED, that want to get their education? And I said, well, it seems like social service kind of geared towards one set outline, is that's really stay on the program. Stay on the program. And I said, no, my philosophy is no, you need this temporarily, but you're going to do better. And I think my philosophy is extremely effective because I've talked to so many customers and they have just went on to do greater things. And I'm telling you, Nelson's so proud of them, so proud of them. They just went on to do greater things. And I'm like, no, just because you're here right now, this is not dictating the rest of your life. Just because you're getting food stamps, cash assistance, medical assistance, you need this right now. I used to get food stamps and medical assistance and all this stuff because I needed it then. But once God put me in a position where I can grow and grow and grow and be weaned off of that or transition off of food stamps and all those things, but at the moment in time, I needed it. Me and my family, we needed to eat, and we didn't have good paying jobs. We didn't have this. We needed to eat, and food stamps and cash assistance and medical assistance served us very well. But now that we got on our feet, we were able to transition off of that. So it's there for the moment, but when you transition off of it, that's fine because now you're going to do other things. I do my own business now. I do so many things now. But when the time came, I needed food stamps. I needed cash assistance. I needed medical assistance. I needed all that stuff. And I thank God the government was there. A lot of countries don't even have this. So I know we sit here and a lot of us take advantage of it, but no, this is really a stepping stone for you to do better. This is just your starting point. It isn't like a 3, 4, 5 generation outline. It's for you to do better, and then you keep going and you want to do better and better, and increase in wisdom, knowledge, understanding. To stand up and start getting those things for yourself: house, cars, all that stuff. Anybody can do it. I'm not the only one. Anybody in this can do it. It's just making that step and not settling for the position you're in. And that's the fallacy, is that people settle for the position and then their mindset doesn't change because they don't elevate their mind to do better. Like, okay, I'm good, I'm eating, I got a place to live, and I'm getting my $500 a month in food stamps. No, 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 no. You got to think a bit higher than that. Elevate your mind. And I guarantee you, elevate your mind, everything else will follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. So I do know that, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs. I know a lot of families are struggling to pay their bills and feed their families. But I also know that, because, in your campaign event last year, you talked a lot about redlining.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon as far as, refinancing their homes. They're trying to,
Mm-hmm.
make a whole bunch of moves. This is a great time for first-time homeowners to, purchase a home. The interest rates are at historic lows,
Right.
now. And I know that, there are so many things that have happened this year. There are so many resources that people have. So what are some of the resources, before I let you go, what are some of the resources that people could use if they need that cash assistance, those food stamps, and all of what you described, medical assistance especially, and all of those resources? So where can people go to get those resources, or who can they call, who can they contact?
Yes, I'll tell everybody. You can contact Department of Social Services. I am not for sure of the website right now because I've been gone for a little bit. But you can contact. But listen, you can contact the Department of Social Services. If you don't have food stamps, apply for the food stamps. Apply for the medical assistance. I think they are opening up the medical program again or something for Obamacare or something. So apply for the food stamps. If you need cash assistance, they have the opportunity for cash assistance. If you need help with your gas and electric bill, they have that. If you need help with your rent, you're being evicted, they have that program. So take advantage. I've done many Facebook lives and tried to get all this information out. The government is offering a different program if you're in business and you need to pay your employees. They have the PPP program where you can apply for get money through the federal government for your business. If you I'm trying to give you all the information, trying to tell you where you can get all the money from. Because my lives, I was telling everybody where you can get all this money from. Because there's no sense in holding anything back. I'm trying to build every person I possibly can. But they have these different programs that you can take advantage of and use them to your advantage. I've taken advantage of a lot of these programs that the government put out there available. Even during this pandemic, there's different programs that you can take part in. If you get unemployment, okay, they're trying to do the program where you get your unemployment, but they kick in the extra $600 a week. So they're trying to get this stimulus bill passed. This is a fourth stimulus bill. They're trying to get it passed so people can have the extra money for unemployment. So I'm just telling everybody, hang in there, keep your head up. Don't drag your head. Use these resources. Use these resources. If you can't pay your rent, talk to the courts and let them know this is what you're up against, and see what they will work out. Don't just not go, because if you not go, then it goes against you automatically. But if you go, at least the judge is in a position to try to work something out with you. So don't just sit home and just give up. No, don't do that. It's just keep moving forward. Just keep pressing forward. And you'll find some good resources out there that are really able to help you during this trying time for everybody. This is a trying time for everybody. So just stick with it. I would say first start with social services, apply for food stamps. If you can get cash assistance, medical assistance, apply for those three right there first, and then just start building on that until you can see clear and clear. And if there's any food banks or any farmers market programs, just see what you can get involved in. Supply your family with food. Secure the family first. I tell everybody this. Secure the family first, and then you work from there. And trust God first and foremost.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much for, coming on this platform to share, everything, all of your experience and all of your knowledge in this line of work. I definitely appreciate it. You shared a lot and I've learned a lot. And I'm still studying, a lot of what, you just shared, with the major that I'm in at UMBC now. So I just want to thank you for coming on, and I'll definitely, I'm sure all of the listeners appreciated it. And this is the most important time for that. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity, Nelson. Thank you. And the viewers and the listeners.
Yes. Yes. So have a good evening.
All right. You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have a few minutes. I'm going to be wrapping up our show in a few minutes, but I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another edition of the Beauty in Us Radio with me, Nelson E. Brown. Before I close, I wanted to just encourage you all to just continue to keep me in prayer. As I said in the beginning of the program, in the beginning of the broadcast, I'm still job hunting. My job position was terminated almost a month ago, and I filed for unemployment. I'm still in the process of moving my finances around. So I'm still in the process of trying to figure out how to move forward. I have moved forward, but just where to go from here. So it's really, really an emotional time for me as well, like I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. But I want to encourage you all to just stay encouraged and to just take advantage of all of the resources that Dr. Newsome just shared on tonight's program, so that we can all, well, all of us, I'm saying all of us, we can all be in a better place spiritually, financially, emotionally, and mentally. Because we're not going to let this pandemic run us or rule us or take us out of here. We're going to take this pandemic out of here. So we only do that when we band together and when we work together to solve these problems and to move each other forward and to support each other in all arenas. So I want to thank you guys again for listening. Tune in to The Beauty in Us next week, The Beauty in Us Radio, for another thought-provoking conversation and for the topic for that evening on the 27th of October, Tuesday, the 27th of October. So make an appointment to meet me here at 6 p.m., from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., again, for our new topic and some fresh content. So thank you on virtual waves, virtual hugs, and I'll see you guys next week.